Greetings, friends. Welcome to another edition of Most in the Middle. This will be a collection update. Got some CDs and cassettes here to talk about. The first one is, I'll show you the front, Nahtrunar. Do it that way, Nahtrunar with Mysterium Tremendum. Came out on Symbolismus Work Records. It also came with a little sticker. This is playing in the background, black metal, obviously from Austria. Just some black and white pictures and some lyrics in here in another language. Nothing to me stands out too much on this release. This is their third album. Very typical, we got a guy on the front with a knife, we got a guy in the woods with a shield. Kind of black metal tropes, but it's good. It's high quality. The songwriting's good. There's just not a ton of originality here. Nothing you haven't heard before, but it's very well produced. Black metal and pretty solid. So, like I said, that's their third release, or his third release. I think he's a one-man band. So, next up, we're going to get into some cassettes. First up here, we have a band called Hydrantia, Excreted from the Flesh. This is a orange cassette. These gents are from Denmark. Same two songs on each side, so it's a two-song. I don't know if they consider this a demo or not, but there's the inside, or the innards, as I like to call it. Very cool artwork. I'm very impressed with the care and effort bands put into their releases as far as getting things put together. I remember back in the day, bands would just write on a Maxwell or Maxell blank tape and say their band's name and say, hey, here's my demo. But these bands, a lot of these bands are self-producing this stuff. Very impressed. They also sent me 2 Bandcamp codes for 2 of their other releases. I guess I could show them to you. I've already redeemed them, so it's not going to work anyway. So both, I think one of them, A Vessel Forlorn, has some live stuff on it, and a couple other songs, and then Abhorrence Veil is another full length. Both are great. I downloaded them all. Very impressed with this band so far. This came out just in March of 2020. They've got a few other releases out from the Bandcamp. This cassette's actually sold out, but they have, looks like they just recently released it on 7-inch vinyl, so get that while the getting's good. Next up, we have another cassette by the band Kneel, Kneel, not somebody's name, Neil. This is Neil. It's the back. This is a black cassette. Infinite Worship, Slaves Eternal. This is out on, I think, their own label as well. These guys are out of San Francisco, California. This is a repress of the original cassette that has sold out. There's the inside. This is out of 100. You can see there every copy is hand numbered. I got number 60. This is very well produced black metal with the perfect mix, in my opinion, of the vocals not being too overpowering, and it feels like all the instrumentation and vocals are just right in line. Again, this, I believe, the first edition of this, if I didn't say already, sold out. There was edition of 50 on white. This is on black cassette. Still plenty of copies available, I believe, so check out Neil if you like just dirty, grimy, but great songwriting, death metal. This band is from another cassette. This is a band from Akron, Ohio called Self-Loathing. This is 2-song, I believe it's a demo called Seasonal Depression on Life After Death Records. They were kind enough to send me a Life After Death sticker and a Self-Loathing sticker with the cassette. It is see-through yellow. not much to see there. This is the first release on their label. I think it's their label. And their band. There's a picture of them underneath a bridge somewhere in Ohio, I'm assuming. This is more dirty, grimy, sludgy, filthy black metal. Something that sounds like it came out of Akron, Ohio. No knock on Ohio, by the way, but if you've been there, you know what I'm saying. It's this is very, I wouldn't say this is highly produced as these other two cassettes I just talked about, but I think this cassette may have, did this sell out? I think this cassette is sold out now as well, so I'll link to Bandcamp below, and y'all can keep an eye if you want to check these bands out and buy their stuff. You can follow bands on Bandcamp if you didn't know, and you'll get email alerts when new stuff pops up. A good example of that is the new Winter Philith album. They had a box set on their Bandcamp that sold out instantly. It's a triple vinyl clear version. I believe they autograph it and some other stuff. And it was sold out. I got an email this morning that they had a few left back in stock. Clicked on it right away and got it. So just because something's sold out, you might still want to follow bands because sometimes they get back stock and whatnot. Next up is probably the most impressive release of this bunch. Another self-produced band, no record label. This is Conjureth with Foul Formations. These gents are out of San Diego, California. They also sent a sticker. Should be this way or that way? That's a joke. It's obviously like this, but it says Conjureth in there somewhere. I thought it was kind of funny that I always try to see if I can actually make out the band's name in some of these logos, and I can't. It could say Bubblicious, and I would be like, they named their band Bubblicious. Okay. Not that the band would do that. Got some lyrics here. Kind of 80s death metal sounding, which is a good thing in my opinion. If I had put this on, I didn't tell you this came out in 2020, you wouldn't believe me. So this is only a 4-song CD. I look very much forward to what this band comes out with, hopefully this year or next year. Very awesome artwork. Pay very close attention to detail on the songwriting and song structures, and I don't know much about this band. I know I saw Ben Smasher talk about this band after I bought this. So I believe he has some more background if you want to go check out his videos. I think he knows the boys in this band. So highly recommend checking out Conjureth below. I was going to let you know if there's any cassettes or CDs left. It looks like there were 100 CDs released, and it looks like they're all gone. So not surprising. If you can, again, like I said, follow them on Bandcamp. If they get any more in or do a second press, you'll be able to get you one. But this is, for you death metal heads, this is about as good as it gets. Another great death metal, more technical death metal band. Again, another self-produced, self-released release. This is Volkendra. This is Into the Azure. These folks are out of Louisville, Kentucky. Or sorry, Louisville. If you're from Kentucky, you've got to say Louisville. It's not Louisville. They'll call you a Yankee if you say it that way. And I know because I've done it in Kentucky. So this is some high quality, well-produced death metal. I mean, this sounds as good or better than most of the crap that's out on Nuclear Blast and all these other big labels. These guys did this themselves. This is their second release. This one came out in 2020. The last one came out in 2019. So I'm very impressed by this band and what they've done with this packaging. Again, this may not be your type of black metal, and I was looking to see. It looks like this might be sold out. No, they still have copies for sale. So Conjureth might too. My Bandcamp's a little fucked up, so I'll link you below though. 7 songs, just well written, polished death metal. Not super melodic. You won't find any clean vocals or anything here, but just top notch musicianship here. I'm surprised these guys aren't on our label. It's nice artwork there too. I'm sure they're being courted. Whatever someone finds about this band, they're going to be courted by record labels. I don't really know why bands sign to labels anymore, because you can get your own publicity and your own. You can obviously put out your own CDs, and you get, if you want to charge $15, you get $15. So I'm probably gonna do some. If I haven't mentioned already, I technically still run a label. I kind of think labels get a bad rap. You always hear about bands getting fucked over, but you never hear about labels getting fucked over, and it does happen. So I'm probably going to do a series on running a record label. I'm sure someone else out there has already done it, but I'm going to provide my perspective. Next up, a one-man band. This came out on Debemure Morti. I think I pronounced that right. This is Pure Wrath. This one is called The Forlorn Soldier. There's the back, 3 songs. Each song is about 7 or 8 minutes. Trifold Digipack. This is a one-man band from Indonesia. Very impressed with what he has accomplished on this release. This has been getting a lot of hype. I follow a lot of people on Bandcamp, and I've seen a lot of people purchase this. We even got a review in the latest Decibel magazine. They gave it an 8 out of 10. Not that they're the holy grail of reviews, but they're pretty spot on. This is very technical, thrashy, I would say death/black metal with some keyboards peppered in. The keyboards, I think, are a little out of place here. They sound like Cradle Filth keyboards, and I don't think it really fits these songs. I would have liked to just hear the keyboards be gone on this release. I mean, who am I to tell the guy how to write his own songs? But they just felt out of place and very high in the mix. But very impressed by Pure Wrath out of West Java, Indonesia. This just came out in March. Looks like the limited edition vinyl sold out. There's 1 copy left of this right now. And then there's a 10-inch as well, and there's 8 of those left. So get it while you can before it's gone. Next up, we got the 3rd release from Krieg called The Black House. Based on what I've heard of Krieg so far, this is probably my favorite release. I haven't heard all of his stuff yet. His, meaning Neil Jameson, I think is his name. He has a column in Decibel magazine too. It's very funny. Kind of reminds me of myself, kind of a grumpy old bastard. Just kind of shits on a lot of stuff, which is pretty funny. It's him out in the woods in the snow. And this is straight up black metal, probably more for fans of Leviathan and things like that. Looks like he had a couple of partners on this album, but I think he's kind of the mastermind. I think he went by Imperial. So hopefully I didn't blow his cover. I know I didn't, but there's something on the... I'm not going to be able to show you in here. There's some writing on the inside here. It says, "You are all the shadows and winds of past storms." This came out on Red Stream in 2003. I believe Red Stream is no longer around, but yeah, just great filthy black metal. More, I call it basement dwelling black metal is how it feels. More of that grimy, sludgy, dirty black metal. But my favorite release of Krieg so far that I've gotten into, I have not heard all of his output yet, so I'll do some more research on him and talk about in a future date. Last but not least is a release I had high hopes for, and I'm still not sure what to think of it. This is the new Dark Fortress album, Spectres from the Old World, on Century Media. Was a huge fan of their first album. What was the name of that bad boy? I believe it was called Tales from the Eternal Dusk. It came out in 2001, so they've been around a while. The album starts off great. The first 5 or 6 songs are just straight up great melodic black metal. And then around song 7 or so, they start to pepper in a lot of clean vocals. And it feels like it almost feels like 2 albums. Feels like the first half was just brutal, melodic, great written, well-produced black metal. And then the second half sounds that way too, but they said, hey, we need to have some clean vocals, so let's start putting a few clean vocals on these songs here and there, and it feels like 2 separate albums. Not that the songs with clean vocals are bad, or that I'm opposed to clean vocals. It just feels very disjointed. I would have, the song ordering on this just doesn't feel right to me. And I know in this day and age, who gives a shit about song order? Most people just pick and choose the song they like and listen to it. But I tend to listen to albums from start to finish to kind of absorb the the way or the envision that the band wanted you to hear it, and it feels very top heavy to me. Again, well produced, sounds fucking fantastic. Century Media is pulling out all the stops to do some promotion of this, but the ordering on this just feels a little out of whack. But it's not that I would say I wouldn't recommend this. It's still the first 6 or 7 songs are fantastic if you like this melodic style of black metal. So a far cry from the early stuff. So if you were a fan of the early stuff, you're probably not going to like this. But that's it for this edition of Mostly Metal. Like I said in another video, I've got a couple books to talk about. I'm not a big reader, so it took me a while to get through these books. Some people, my wife can read a book in a day. For me, I gotta read it, put it down, read it, put it down. So I'm gonna review a couple books, and I got some more stuff coming in the mail. So thanks for checking this channel out, guys, and hope y'all are staying safe out there.